leave that in, and we should welcome our dear viewer to the returning episodes of Kazra.
Kazra, yeah, Carl and Sean rate everything.
Us rating everything. Do not disturb. There we go.
In 2024, having set a benchmark for like where things are, the scope of things, and now we'll slot shit in between the beers and
we should get that list up, really.
Oh, well, it will be here or maybe here, depending on how shit works. Somewhere
just for reference, because I did know it off by heart because we did it every day.
I don't think we need to read through the whole list. You know, we just say.
Oh no, I don't want to read through it. I want to look at it when we rate whatever we rate.
That's actually a very good point. Yeah, I should do that. Yeah, I'll probably got it somewhere. Let's have a look. No, it's not in there.
We are doing that. We're going to continue the rating game. We're just going to rate other stuff from a big magic thing that Sean is going to show you in just a second.
It's true. Hey, fan, talk amongst yourself while I.
No, I think we said viewer. I don't know. Did they say they were a fan?
They didn't say they were, but they definitely said viewer. But yeah, fan might be pushing it a bit. That might be putting words into people's mouths, I think.
I don't think you can have a fan if they're your friend, because it's like when your parents come to your school show.
Yeah, but they like have to applaud, because if they don't, they're terrible parents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. All right. Well, okay.
Can I open my beer first because it's Sunday?
Oh, what have you got?
Well, I have a shortage because I drank everything from Christmas. So
Right.
I've got
Nice.
one of the final hobgoblins.
Yep.
Also, I've got my hobgoblin tankard to drink it out of.
Oh, but nice. I've gone with Mike's Gift.
I would have done, but it's hob.
And my beer selection for today, I'm going to start with a short leaf because we like that. And then, you know, if I get through the short leaf, it's only a mother flipping wingman.
Nice.
My dad this morning.
Why do you think you're going to be tanking it back quicker than you did in the actual beer episode?
I might. Yeah, my dad was like, "Hey, this thing you're doing with Carl, how do I go about watching that?" And there was a bit of me that was like, "Oh, I should just lie to him and tell him a fake address, because is there some stuff in here that I don't want him to see?" But you know what? I'm proud of our work so far.
We haven't done anything offensive to parents. And it's a real nice tie-in to me saying that this show is like when your folks come to watch you in the school play.
Oh, that's nice. That makes me feel all warm and bubbly inside.
Not really, because it means we're essentially talentless children in the school play and your dad's coming to watch.
I see no problem with that. That's how things are. Anyway.
His feedback might be, you should have stuck to drumming, Sean.
Should have stuck to drumming, really. Yeah. But
can we spin the wheel? Because I'm excited.
Well, the stuff is going along there, and as the list gets bigger, it's going to be like moving across, so we don't have to jam everything on screen. But the worst thing in the world is.
Oh, no, I'm not reading. No, let's not read the list.
We're not doing the whole thing, but I think we set the tone.
Just the worst thing.
Yeah.
All right. The worst thing in the world is Lost Lager Guava.
Fucking awful.
Hate juice.
Can hate juice.
So what's the most mediocre thing?
Black Heart, maybe?
Hold on.
Yeah, I think it's Black Heart. I'm pretty sure. Through the scientific method of looking at it, I think it's Black Heart.
No, I think it's actually up as high as Hazy Jane Guava or Grind.
You're mad. You're mad. You're crazy mad. You're mad in the face.
Oh, wait, maybe I can't count. I can't count.
Yeah, I reckon by method of looking and pointing my finger, I reckon it's Black Heart.
That's around Black Heart.
Give or take, is about middling. And the best is
best thing in all of creation is still Wingman. Wingman.
And because of that, I'm going to continue using this for smash cuts until someone tells me not to.
Smash cut, Star Wipe. We need some Star Wars Star Wipes. And
so
a wipe to Tatooine that then instantly wipes back to us. Because everything happens on Tatooine. Like if you've got an insurrection problem, they should have Death Star Tatooine. That would have solved many issues.
I assume, what's the new Zack Snyder film that's a bit Star Warsy, but it's not Star Wars?
Rebel Moon.
Yeah, I'm just assuming that's on Tatooine as well, even though it's not set in the same universe.
It's on Tutian? I don't know.
Tatooine.
No, because you've got Dantooine and stuff, so that probably already exists in the expanded universe.
That's true. Yeah. Anyway, so methodology for going forwards from now on for this year is at the start of the episodes, we'll tell you what the best and worst thing is. You'll see a few things down the bottom there. You see what it looks like. And then we will spin the wheel, which currently has 65 things on it. Although if anything new's been added to the wheel since the last episode, we'll clue you in on what that is as well, get you all excited about it. Woo.
We might. We're not very disciplined. We might forget.
Not very. We might forget.
Spin the wheel.
65 things on at the moment, and we spin it. We're going to spin it 3 times, and that's going to be 3 things, and then we're going to rate those 3 things against each other, and then at the end of the episode, we'll slot them into the beer list. And we also might have to go on a voyage of discovery because we might not know anything about them.
I feel that 3 is a high number, but my feedback was overruled.
We'll see how it goes. Right. All right, I'm going to try and share the wheel of quiz. Not quiz, rating.
Where?
You see that? You got that?
It's up. I hope that Zoom is recording it. We'll find out.
If it's not, there's a wheel going on, guys. Yay. And we'll sort it out for you next week. But for now...
Shall I read it out as we go?
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Can I do that? Having Pooh, British Airways, Star Trek, Fire, Caramel, Top Gun, Maverick, Red, Salted Caramel, Loxford, Theo, Didcot, Up, Cheese, Didcot. Didcot's on there a lot.
Is it? Should only be on there.
It's on there at least twice.
Okay.
Amazon Prime, Carl, NHS, Under Siege, STP&C, Porter, Portsmouth, Boomers, Tolkien, Social Media, Coffee, Bezos, Portsmouth, Star Wars. Is Portsmouth also on there a few times? It is.
Oh, maybe then. I'll go and
Big
fix that.
dupes going on here. Anyway.
You ready? Ready?
Hmm.
Ooh.
Oh, it's gone insane.
Who knows what's going to suck? It's going to be...
Having frame rate issues. Caramel?
Caramel. Standard caramel.
Evil
Right.
alter ego.
Second up, we're going to have...
Should write this down. Or as Americans call it caramel. Or is that
Caramel.
something?
It's going to be Gen X.
Oh, that's us.
Is that we are Gen X?
It's hard to, I think we're Gen X millennials. We're like already on the boundary.
We'll do some research. We'll figure it out. And third up, we have... Oh, it's exciting. Could be anything.
I feel it's not super controversial today.
Wales.
The screen is a bit behind. You announced that before.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was Wales.
And we're talking Whales, the species of marine mammal, and not the nation.
Indeed. We very nearly had a really big piss there, which we've got to look forward to in future.
Well, I don't want to steal from the future, but that is going to rate very high.
Oh, yeah, I enjoy a really big piss. Like one of the ones that we've said this before, but I find when I have a really big piss, the back of my teeth itch. You know, when it's a really big one.
You have said this, and it's that's odd. I think that's probably means something.
Oh, it's probably some medical thing. But
yeah, you've got a nerve connected in the wrong
just like
way.
Anyway, but we're not talking about a really big piss today. We're talking about, in this order, Caramel, Gen
X, and Wales.
Wales. All right, so I know what a whale is. I know what caramel is.
Do you?
I'm not entirely clear on what Gen X is. So should we have a look?
What is caramel?
I think it's like not burnt, like melted sugar. I think. You look up caramel, I'll get on Gen X. Yeah, people born between the mid-60s and about 1980. So it might not be us. It's people directly after the boomers.
I think there's lots of... Hold on. So caramel is basically just sugar. That's right. Sort of cooked up with the water taken away. I thought Gen X was debatable.
And it says Gen Y is 82 to 94. I think we're somewhere on the cusp.
Because I'm 81, but right at the start.
Yes, as am I, but not right at the start, because Carl's got a good 7-ish months on me. 6, 7, something like that.
I feel I identify more with Gen X. We should read what the description of it is and see where we fit.
Okay. Well, first of all, we should do caramel.
Oh, yeah, it's not going to be super interesting. I feel we've got quite a lame selection today, to be honest.
Nothing that's gonna get us in trouble, really.
No, no, because there's some spicy things on that wheel.
Oh, well, there's fascism on there, which that'd be a fun one to talk about. You know what was fun? When I thought we might have been doing fascism today, because we sort of did a pre-roll and then we had to, finding like an icon to put in the list for fascism was a fucking minefield.
I think you can probably get away with some like Italian fascism type stuff.
I
Because
went with the Italian sign of fascism. Yeah.
I feel their hearts weren't in it, really.
Mm.
But anyway, but we didn't draw that, so we can't talk about that.
We didn't draw that. We drew caramel. So what is caramel, Carl?
Caramel is essentially the removal of water from sugar, strictly speaking. It's sugar that you add a couple of other things to, maybe butter or cream or something, to make a confectionery product.
Okay.
It's essentially sugar, what goes into sweets. Now, I assume it's on here because I have a deep dislike of its evil counterpart, salted caramel, but we're not talking about that today.
No, that is also on there. Yeah.
It's also on there. So caramel is, for me, just a pretty nice confectionery product. I like the caramel bars in a selection box. They're not my favourite.
Does caramel have a certain consistency? Like, is it like gloopy? When you know, like the internet has got a thing at the moment for cheese pulls, where you get a cheesy thing, you pull it apart, and the cheese goes. That's all. Yeah, caramel sort of does that, right?
It can be lots of things because it can be like fairly solid, I think. Right. It can be like a crispy caramelized layer, I think, if you like caramelized.
Yeah.
Or you can have the very runny caramel in some chocolates.
Is the top of a creme brulee caramel, or is the caramelization of something slightly different? Caramelization makes caramel, I think.
Well, it's a thin layer of granulated sugar which is caramelized with a torch.
But does that make it caramel?
I think it does.
Oh, so that's solid, brittle caramel.
You can get hard caramel, you can get soft caramel.
And the stuff in a caramel bar is pretty much soft caramel, right?
In general, but I think you can get hard caramel bars. Like what other chocolate bars have caramel in?
Twix got caramel in it. Bit of biscuit, bit of caramel.
I think that's a caramel.
What about Mars? What about the goopy in a Mars bar? Is that caramel?
Caramilk, of course.
Caramilk, yeah.
Is that kind of weird chocolate that you don't buy so much, but I always like when I get one.
It looks like white chocolate, but it's not white chocolate. It's sort of yellow chocolate, orangey chocolate.
It's caramelly chocolate. Just caramel, actually.
Yeah. Where I assume they do that by putting caramel into your milk chocolate, and then your white chocolate even maybe.
Mars bar has caramel, but that is quite runny, I think, actually.
Do you want to know a fun fact about Cadbury's?
Sure.
Right. So me and Sarah years ago, we went and did a tour of the Diamond Light Source in Didcot. Well, I
built a bit of that.
You did. You built the shitty building that's next to it.
Yes.
I looked at it when we went down there, and I went, "Carl built that," and Sarah went, "Huh?"
What's she built? Nothing. It's just counted bats.
Anyway, the good.
Can we add ecologists to the list, please?
We can put ecologists on.
Right.
But yeah, the good bit of the Diamond Light Source, the bit you didn't build, the bit that actually does the science.
The cyclotron, the actual Diamond Light Source.
That's the one. So that we went on a tour, and one of the things they told us on the tour was that one of the companies that had bought time on it was Cadbury's, and it was in order to make sure that something on a atomic level or a very small level to do with their chocolate was just right to get the right taste profile or something. Yeah. Fact. Which I thought was very interesting.
I want to know more, as I feel your explanation didn't really cover off why they were using one of the world's biggest. It's not a particle accelerator, is it? It's just
It's not, because they don't
insanely intense light.
They don't collide things. They just spin it around, and then they take light off of it to shine across stuff that they then look at with telescopes, microscopes. Because the more light you get, the smaller shit you can see.
That's it.
Yeah.
Wow. Today I learned.
There you go.
Shall we rate Caramel pretty quickly? Because
Yeah, it's not very interesting, Caramel, is it? It's like
it's not. We didn't get the controversial one that I can rant about.
Caramel. We'll rant about that one when it comes up. But I like Caramel. I enjoy Caramel.
I like Caramel. Happy with the Caramel bars. Like crispy caramel, soft caramel, all regular caramel that's not adulterated.
Yeah, no. Good, tasty. We don't have to rate it on the list yet. We just have to. We will consider the next thing and then decide whether that's better or worse than caramel.
I've already decided where it's going anyway.
Oh, have you?
Well, for me, so I'm just going to write a note to myself. There we go. Oh, it's messed up his spreadsheet.
Our spreadsheet kids can have his work cut out with him with like all this new fangledness.
Shall we proceed to Generation X?
Yes, Gen X. So, according to the internet, from a Google search of Gen X, Gen X refers to people born between the mid-60s and about 1980, directly following the baby boomers generation. As with most generation names, Gen X is a common descriptor intended to help identify a group of people who grew up in similar economic, technological, and political circumstances. Whereas Gen Y, which is sort of the next one, which might be us, are also known as the digital natives because they are the people who grew up with just technology being part of their shiz. And the reason I think we're somewhere in between the two is because we're probably the last generation to go out and actually build forts in woods and not come home for the entire day and spend all our time out climbing trees and shit. And we had like a little bit of computer games, but it wasn't a massive thing.
I don't think we were the last generation who did that.
The last generation in earnest that did that, you know, where that was their preferred thing rather than.
You've accelerated to being a little bit of it in my day.
It is a little bit, yeah.
My day, when I was kids, just after the war.
But if you think about it, well, that'd be a boomer. You're not a boomer.
I didn't say which war. It was the Falklands War.
Fair enough. But yeah, when we were kids, like most of the time that we were playing together was playing outside, and the only like extended period of computer use that we had was that summer when I broke my arm, and we couldn't really go out as much because I was a bit buggered. And that summer we played like an absolute piss ton of Amiga. But outside of that, we played a little bit in the winter when it was raining.
Yeah, you weren't there so much in the winter because you're a summer baby. Staying with your grandparents in the summer.
Well, yeah, you're right, actually. I did spend summer holidays with them. I was there in the winter sometimes.
Yeah, but summer was our main.
It was until I got sort of an age that I could just cycle around, and then you could get rid of me.
So, I do think that makes us more Gen X-y because we were not digital native, right? I got my first mobile phone when I was 17, 18.
Yeah, about the same age, 16, 17.
And my first mobile phone it could do text, but text weren't out yet. So I remember SMS becoming a thing and being turned on.
I could do text straight off the bat when I got it, so I might have got one slightly after you. I do know that the text cost 10p.
They did,
and they could only be 54 characters long.
It was quite arbitrary, but it was okay because you still only had the numbers, so it was like tap 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 tap. A tap 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 tap. C tap 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 like that.
But you got really quick at it then.
You did. You got really good at it. So I'll say thanks, Dad, for my first mobile phone. Kind of came a bit out.
Mine was from my stepdad. Remember Andy, my stepdad?
Mm-hmm.
Not Andy, my dad. Confusing.
Everyone's Andy in your family.
Everyone's Andy. I think we had a dog called Andy. My brother's called Andy. Just Mum's got
a Motorola. Is it a C520? Googling it. Yes, it was. Oh, I've got big nostalgia now. I've Googled it.
What did it look like? Let's have a look. Motorola mode or
C520.
by 20. I was the same as mine. Hey! Well, we clearly never compared mobile phones then.
I don't think we were talking much at this particular time.
We had a few years off, but our
Kind of.
years off started from age 18 to age. It's only about 5 years, 23, something like that. So we both would have had phones before I fucked off to Oxford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a good phone. It was right. Bit of a brick, but it's okay.
It was chunky.
So my argument, if I'd been Gen X, is that we digital native.
We would just have one from day one, right?
Yeah. And the internet came in as a teenager. That became the thing. So
yeah, first
how
email address I ever had was when I was at college. So it would have been like 98, 99-ish. I had an
I had
email
a college
address.
one. I had a Yahoo one.
Yeah.
Because that was the shiz back in the day.
I think I still have a Yahoo one.
This was this is teenagery. So this was when I moved into the garage at home. That's
yeah, the one that didn't really have a front wall. Like it did, but it was basically a garage door with holes cut in it.
Dad built one. It was a cool room. Literally, the temperature
used to get really cold in there.
I like a cool bedroom to sleep in. That should be on the list. Cool bedrooms.
Cool, but I do like cool bedroom.
But what am I saying? What was I saying? Yeah, so internet came in after school. I had no internet at school. So I feel that makes us more Generation Xy.
I think so. I think we're not the
we negotiated the transition.
So for an Inky Dink, I and you, I guess, never had like those digital whiteboards at schools, which are now ubiquitous. I think that's just like that's the thing, right?
I think one might have come in. I can't remember if it was college or university, but pretty rapidly people didn't realize. No, it was work. That wasn't education at all. That was work. Oh, yeah. Smartboard at work was a bit laggy because it was probably about 18 years ago.
So we had blackboards, actual blackboards. The height of technology for blackboards was the ones that you could like roll them round, and then someone will have drawn a big dick on the back, and it would be really funny. And everyone.
I was once at a customer site, and they had a whiteboard. But you pushed a button, and it like rotated and edited through a scanner, and then it would print out the whiteboard for you. It was pretty sweet.
That seems a solution to a problem that doesn't need to exist.
Well, it was before I feel the ubiquitous phones with high resolution cameras. It was in that interregnum, which I think is the correct use of that word.
And we also had OHPs, where if your teacher wanted to do any like writing on the thing and then like do overlays and stuff on the thing, you use your OHP, right?
College, university presentations for me were mostly, not all, but nearly all OHP.
We should probably say what OHP means for all the
overhead projector. So you have your transparency, you put it on the box where light shining through projects up. Now it's like USB in that you never ever get the thing on the right way around the first time.
No.
But you flip it once, it's still wrong. You flip it back, it's still wrong. You flip it again, and then it's right. Even though you can kind of do that combination.
You can flip it that way, but then you can flip it that way.
Then it had to turn it the other way.
Yeah.
It's like USB when you're like, huh.
Well, USB is the third state is always the right one, isn't it? Because it's
even though it's only got two possible states.
No. Yes.
I know.
What did you do?
I don't know. I don't have reactions.
Why?
Why balloons?
So we might have strayed slightly away from Gen X. That's what we're talking about.
No, I think this shows a great deal of enthusiasm for Gen X, and we reckon we are most likely Gen X.
Well, they were Gen X, yeah.
So let's look at the definition of a millennial, just in case.
We're not millennials. That's another one. Unless millennial is the same as Gen Y.
It is.
Is it?
Yeah, millennials directly after us.
Oh, in which case, yeah, that's not us. I'm not a millennial. Fuck millennials. For all of the millennial fans that are watching.
With their avocado on toast, meaning they can't keep up with the increase in house prices.
Oh
That's the
dear.
first generation to grow up with the internet. Now, I would argue we didn't grow up with the internet. When does
No, we
growing up?
grew up and then the internet happened to us.
Well, 16 isn't grown up, but it is on the way to being grown up.
It's getting there.
So I feel we are very much on that transition. And I'll put my little flag in Gen X because millennials get a lot of bad publicity.
They do. And, you know, to be called a millennial, it just seems a bit like it's such a broad definition that to consider us millennials, we're very, very different to the people who had all that shit to start with, right?
Well,
That's not.
when does millennial end? So millennial ends.
Is there something after it?
Yeah, it goes to Zoomers and Generation Z.
Oh, Gen Z. Interesting.
So millennials end at 96. I have very little in common with someone born in 1996.
Oh, yeah, I suppose. I
Actually,
mean,
that's not true. If
we
they're
were
into all the
still.
geeky stuff we're in, then yeah, I've got loads in common. But in print, yeah, in the other stage of life and where I was raised and everything.
So that's born when we were sort of getting towards the end of our school careers.
96, I was 15.
Yeah, 97 we.
In some places, I'm old enough to be a millennial's father.
I mean, there are places in this country where you're old enough to be a millennial's father.
Yeah, I was like saying,
Could you be a millennial's grandfather? So if millennials end at 96,
if I was in a family that made a spectacular series of very poor life decisions.
yeah, bonkers. So is Gen Z the latest one? Is there nothing since Gen Z?
Gen Alpha.
What would my
Gen Alpha starting in 2010s.
what would my nieces and nephews and your children be?
Gen Alpha.
Gen Alpha, are they? When did that start?
In the 2010s. I feel like I'm having a circular conversation with you.
It's because I'm Gen X and my marbles are going.
Early 2010s to the 2020s.
Uh,
Now, we
right,
can't
cool.
talk crap about them too much because they're all still kids.
We love them. They're great. It's just that in between year, bunch of bastards.
We don't hate
Unless
anyone. I hate millennials.
unless you're watching, in which case we love you,
We
millennials.
don't hate anyone. It's part of the ethos of our friendship group.
We love millennials. You're brilliant people, but you are not special. Get a fucking job.
They don't think they're special. They are trying to get jobs. There's a whole bunch of socioeconomic things that work against them.
It's actually life is very, very hard for them. I mean, you can't get a house. Oh no, that's not. It's not good. No.
So in this episode, you spoke shit about millennials and then thumbs up them not being able to afford housing.
You can't buy a house, so you're living with your parents kind of forever, and that's not your fault. You probably might end up in a crappy 0 hours job. It's not necessarily your fault either. You know, that's just because gig economy means that that's the way jobs is now, and you then can't get enough experience to like move up in the world job wise because everyone's like, "What's your experience?" And you're like, "Oh, I used to deliver pizza," and it's not fair.
Hey, I used to deliver pizzas.
Yeah, all right, but you've done fairly well for yourself since. Yeah,
That was I never got bored doing that job. I did get cold.
that was pretty cool.
Right, we're at 30 odd minutes on the clock.
So, in summary, we love millennials. It's not your fault.
But we love Gen X more.
You've had hard times. We love Gen X more, and I think we probably love Gen not Y. What's the one after?
We're not rating them.
No, I know, but we like them quite a lot because
No, don't get carried away.
Because we got the youth of our geeky group are fresh-ish.
They're millennials.
No, they're not.
Or what? My youth.
Yeah, your kids.
They're not millennials. But we do have some fully signed up millennials in our group, and you might be married to one.
Oh fuck, I am, aren't I?
And you just spoke a lot of shit about her.
She's done very well for herself, though. She's doing good.
Considering the drawbacks.
Considering the drawbacks, I mean,
Of course, she married up into Gen X.
She did. You know, she had a stable. She had a stable Gen X influence to guide her.
You're in so much trouble.
She doesn't watch these. It's fine.
Oh, that's going to be tough to rate Gen X.
What was the last one?
What do you mean?
Whales.
Whales.
Big ass marine mammals.
Now, I know that these folks are important because Captain Kirk came back to save them in a stolen bird of prey.
It's such a good film.
Where'd you put whales in a bird of prey? I don't know, but they figured it out because they had Scotty, the engineer.
They fitted too, didn't they? They had yeah, they used see-through steel, I think.
Transparent aluminium.
That's the one, which wasn't a thing until Chekhov, I believe, gave them the
Scotty gives it to them. What is even going on with you today?
who, me?
Yeah, Scotty gives it to them. Chekhov goes, I think with Zulu, to find the nuclear vessels and gets promptly captured.
He gets captured because he falls down some stairs and knocks his head or something, doesn't he?
He does also, and they're doing that while they're trying to break into a secure nuclear facility at the height of the Cold War, and he's Russian.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Now, hilariously, transparent aluminium exists.
Is it a real thing then?
It's a real thing. I don't know when it was invented. It might have been a real thing then.
Oh.
But is a real thing.
But them whales, they had to go back and save them because there was a probe coming towards the Earth, not unlike the plot of Star Trek, the original motion picture. Some similarities there. And it was coming to Earth, and big storms and shit because they were speaking in a language that no one on Earth understood. And then it turned out that it was whale song, and so they had to go back in time, get some whales.
And for the viewer at home, how does whale song go, Sean? That was very. I like that. That was very convincing.
Yeah.
That's good.
It was either whale song or the sound of someone kicking a walrus.
Is that the walrus or the person?
I don't know. A walrus is pretty stocky. Would you hurt your foot if you kicked one?
I don't think. I think the walrus, if it notices you, which it probably won't because it's got lots of insulation and stuff, I reckon they're going to take care of you pretty quick if you're a nuisance.
I think it'd notice if you walked up and punted a walrus, like whether you actually did any damage to it or not, it's gonna notice.
But does it care?
I think it probably does care.
All right, how much do you think a walrus weighs?
Ooh, in what?
Any unit of weight you care to guess in?
I don't know in any of them. So let's go for.
Because you're proposing you're going to get this thing to be unhappy with you by giving it a lump.
I base it on how much I weigh. I'm not telling you that, but big old beer belly.
He's tall. He's tall. That's why he's heavy.
I'm tall. I weigh. Oh, this is tragic. We're watching Jack Reacher at the moment, which is great, and I weigh a little bit more than Alan Richardson, who plays Jack Reacher, does.
But he's mega hench and tall.
Yeah, he's ripped as balls. Like it's all muscle, and I am not that. But yeah, so all right, based on my weight, a walrus, I reckon a walrus weighs about. Let's go for 700 pounds walrus.
No.
Higher or lower?
Now I'm distracted by looking at Alan Richardson. Then got very confused by thinking Alan Titchmarsh, was he in Reacher? And now I want to see that Reacher where Reacher is Alan Titchmarsh.
He'd still be taller than Tom Cruise.
Anyway, Richardson is 6'2" and 16.7 stone. Oh, 6'2", so he's only. You're pretty much 6'2", aren't you?
6'1" and a bit, yeah.
Huh, that puts him into. I think everyone else in that show might be a bit.
He looks massive. He looks like a giant of a man.
Yeah, he looks like 6'4", 6'7" kind of size. Maybe
tell
they're
you what, though,
accentuating him.
on
But anyway, sorry. What
no,
were
I was gonna a quick aside on that. Like he's brilliant. I love him in that. So just before we watched the latest season of Reacher, me and Sarah, we watched Blue Mountain State, where where he plays Thad, who is just a crazy psychopathic quarterback who loves cocaine and is a big old party boy with many hookups randomly and lives in a place called the Goat House, and it's great. But it's such a different character, and at no point during watching season 2 of Reacher, which we just watched another episode of, am I like, oh, that's Thad from Blue Mountain State. Completely different. Just totally believed, completely different person. Because he's a very good actor.
he's a good actor? I don't feel he acts too much in Reacher.
He's just,
Reacher's a very, very straightforward show. I watch it because the bad people are going to get beaten up, and he's going to be smarter than everyone.
I like that he's like ripped and beats the snot out of people, but also is basically ripped Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah. In America. Anyway, coming back, we've gone from multiple layer diversion back to the walrus. A walrus is coming in at 1,000 kilos, which is about 2,200 pounds.
Oh, I was so far off.
And you're kicking it, and I posit that if it even notices you, it doesn't care overly much.
Do meerkat groups, families, I don't know, do they do a meerkatting type thing? Like, is there someone having a look, making sure no one's coming up to kick them?
A walrus? Do they act like? I don't know anything about that.
Because I don't think I could get up to a walrus to kick it. Not that anyone should kick a walrus without it noticing. I'm sure it would notice, wouldn't it? Like it'd hear me and go, "Well, are you coming to kick me? You try it."
The logo for our channel be a walrus silhouette with a man kicking it and a big no symbol on it.
Just a boot. Yeah. No.
In fact, the whole thing should be called "Don't Kick the Walrus."
Don't kick the walrus.
Right. And coming back from that, how did we get into walruses? Walrus high? Walrus.
How did we get to walruses from Wales?
Transparent aluminium.
Transparent aluminium.
Chekhov nukes the Cold War.
Yeah.
We should talk about Wales because
we should talk about Wales. I'm sure
I like Wales. They are good.
They're pretty cool. We've covered them vaguely in the past because we have talked about ambergris.
We did.
Which comes from sperm whales, I believe.
I'm Googling how important they are to the ecosystem.
What, big ass whales?
Yeah. Now, according to the World Wrestling Federation, they blah 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 blah. Why they matter? They're at the top of the food chain, so we don't think we matter. They capture carbon from the atmosphere
by eating krill.
No, just because they're big. Listen to this. Each great whale sequesters an estimated 33 tons of CO2 on average, thus playing their part in the fight against climate change. Why do they have a part in the fight against climate change?
I don't think they're doing it on purpose. It's not like someone recruited them to do that.
No, I feel like we're projecting onto them there.
It's just something they do anyway. It wasn't like there was a campaign of, right, we need to go and recruit the whales.
Okay, so here's what they actually do, which is much more useful than the WWF definition. They recirculate the fish and zooplankton that they've ingested into nitrogen-rich poop, which then will drift down and fertilize and regenerate the sea, the environment, which I think is a much more relevant.
Brilliant mental image when you were talking about WWF there and going back to your wrestling comment earlier. Because in our day, in our Gen X day, WWF was World Wrestling Federation.
It was, and then there was a whole thing where they had to change.
Anyway, I just had a brilliant mental image when you said that of like some big beefy wrestler coming in, giving it all the stick, getting up into the ring, being like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna take you, I'm gonna kill you, and then just a blue whale going boom.
Oh, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy kind of time.
Dead wrestler.
Or there's a whale, and they're spraying it to keep it happy and stuff. And he's like, ooh, 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 and he's going in, and the whale's until finally tail flip,
and knocks him like out across the crowd.
Does it?
Yeah.
In a different world, we could have humans versus animals, but not in this.
That's not something we should do because it seems mean.
To the humans in most cases.
Well, in that situation,
Look,
yeah.
I don't even want to fight a scorpion, and they're that big.
I don't think you can fight a scorpion. You can't square off against a scorpion. I think in order to fight something, there has to be certain parity in size, right? It's not going to be like, yeah, stick them up, yeah.
So now I've got to fight about 100 scorpions working together.
Yeah.
I like that idea even less.
Who have all got together and they've made themselves into a big scorpion out of scorpions.
Okay.
And then you could beat them, and you could be the Scorpion King, who was the Rock, who is a wrestler. Brought it back round.
Nice.
Anyway,
we like whales. They're important to the ecosystem.
What's the biggest whale in the world, Carl?
The blue whale.
It is. And they used to have one, didn't they, in the Natural History Museum?
Still do.
I think they've moved it. It's in the. It used to be in the. You walk into the room and it was like the whale room or whatever it was, and now it's where I think it's where T-Rex used to be. When you first get into the first hall, it's like,
oh, it is in the first hall. Yes, yeah. That's the only place I remember seeing it actually. So.
No, it used to be in a big old room with other whale paraphernalia. You know, whale papers, whale tobacco.
Right, since you hit me with a trivia question, what's the smallest whale?
Ooh. Do you want his name, or is it like it was the littlest whale in the village?
Oh, it's funnier than I anticipated.
Smallest type of whale.
Uh-huh.
It's going to be something that probably looks a bit like a dolphin because they're all porpoises, right? I think whales are porpoises also, maybe.
It doesn't really.
Is it the hammerhead whale?
No, you're not going to get this, I don't think.
Has it got a weird name that I'm never going to guess?
It's the dwarf sperm whale.
Oh,
never heard of that before.
That's interesting. Okay.
It's about 2 meters to 2.7 meters long, 136 kilos and up. Is you?
That's not much off the size of a dolphin. A big dolphin, right?
It's you.
Me. Oh,
136 kilos. And what are you in stone?
250-ish.
You're 250 stone?
No, that'd be massive, wouldn't it? That's pounds. So stone's like 18 and a half.
So one of these is about 2 meters long and about 21 stone.
I am about 2 meters long. I'm not 21 stone. I'm not far off.
You're a skinny dwarf sperm whale.
I'm a skinny dwarf. Oh.
Today I learned.
Where do they live?
The negative one.
Where do they live? They live in Didcot, apparently.
I'm going to update the Wikipedia map of where they live. Temperate and tropical oceans worldwide. If they're so common, how haven't I heard about these guys?
And tropical oceans would be those oceans that fall between the tropics, right?
Yeah, and a bunch of temperate ones too. Tropics.
Name me a
for some reason, not the Red Sea. I guess they don't want to be shot by Houthis. Okay.
Anyway,
so going against whales, the killer whales have now evolved to eat boats and maybe people.
They have, yeah. Within like the last few years, there have been loads of stories of killer whales doing big scary things. So if they were to remake Jaws, they probably wouldn't call it Jaws because that really relates to sharks, but maybe it would be about a killer whale.
Would Free Willy 3 or something. He's back.
The Revengeanizing.
Free Willy's Revenge.
Yeah. Maybe would it be called fins?
Ooh.
Or blowholes?
Both of those, I'm sure, already movies. Fins the movie. Oh, I don't think there's a movie called Fins.
That seems like there should be a film called Fins, right?
Huh.
I bet there's not a film called Blowholes.
No. Also not.
Funny that.
Fins, though, you'd think there would be a knockoff horror movie called Fins.
Yeah, like something from the Sci-Fi channel.
Where am I going to put Wales? I don't know how to break up the beer list.
Are we talking? The thing about Wales is there's been some very, very good Wales. The aforementioned Free Willy, he's good. He did good works. But then there's been some big meanie whales like the Moby Dick, big mean whale.
He was misunderstood. We were hunting him and his kin to extinction.
And the whale that ate Pinocchio, I can't remember. Did he ultimately turn out to be a good guy?
I don't remember. I don't think I've seen Pinocchio.
I'd give it a miss. It's a bit weird.
What about the one that ate Jonah? Did he have a name?
Jonah and the Whale. No, it was just called The Whale, wasn't he?
He was the whale back then.
Jonah and Whale. Is that like a biblical tale, or is it like a Aesop fable type scenario?
No, it's biblical.
Biblical.
We should rate because it's nearly it's 53 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. So first of all, this is the easy part. Those three things. Out of those, which is best? Out of Wales, Caramel, and Gen X. Well, we are Gen X, and I think we're pretty great. I like us.
I'm going to put Gen X up there, which I feel might irritate the crowd of people who would rather animals existed and people didn't.
At least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I also really like Wales.
Kind of like Gen X more. I feel they have more relevance to my day-to-day life.
Yeah, I don't, in my professional capacity, I don't have a lot to do, and personal, actually, have a lot to do with Wales. Really.
Mm. So I'm going to put Gen X at the top.
Okay.
Put another way, if Gen X all disappeared, and for some reason I wasn't included in disappearing, I'd be quite sad about it.
Yeah, but if I'm thinking on a kind of global and what's good for the planet scale, if Gen X disappear, all of them just overnight gone, that would probably be quite a good thing. Environmentally.
Are you on the eco-terrorist side or the side of Gen X who want to survive?
I like being me. I don't want to go away. I quite like you. You're all right. Don't really want you to go away. So all right, let's go with Gen X as top because we are.
Wales is an easy second because I like Caramel, but if it was a choice between Caramel and Wales, I'm going to pick Wales.
Yeah. I do like Wales. As I said, not a lot to do with them on a day-to-day basis, but if
not sure how they're going to work in a chocolate bar, but I will try.
Yeah, no, we'll give it a go. No, that way Madness Nights, because then you'll have the I don't want to throw shade, but the Japanese, for instance, other whale hunting countries are available, would probably hunt the whales for use in confectionery.
To fill the gap left by the disappearance of caramel.
And we don't want that.
Hey, at least the millennials wouldn't get their salted caramel, right?
That's true.
They'd just be having salt.
Just a lovely handful of salt.
Nah. Caramel, third place. Not a slight on caramel.
No, it's just Wales. Wales great. And without Wales, we wouldn't have had Star Trek 4.
So now we got a challenge in that we have a list of things already that are beer.
This is a challenge that's going to get easier over time because there'll be more non-beer things.
But do we break up the beer list, or is the...
No, we have to break up the beer list because the beer list is the best and worst things ever.
But if there was no Gen X, there would be fewer people to enjoy Wingman.
True. All right. I'm putting. Let's start with caramel.
I've got a place for that easy because it's a food stuff and it's very easy to compare.
All right, where are you going for caramel?
I had caramel essentially just under Elvis juice.
The Elvis juice. I like caramel. I mean,
My mind went. I'm
Yeah.
going in. There's a selection of things to choose from. There's mince pie barley wine, Speedbird OG, Lost Lager Guava, Lost Lager Blood Orange, caramel bar of some sort, and then an Elvis juice.
Yeah.
I'm going for the Elvis juice. Someone else takes it, so I'm going to divert to the caramel because I don't want anything else in that.
but you reckon caramel is not as good as Hoppy Xmas or Hop Frenzy, which were both very disappointing.
I like them, but they were a victim of marketing.
I put caramel between Hop Frenzy and Arcade Maid. I don't want to put it above Arcade Maid because Arcade Maid's great.
I think we've got an obvious compromise then in between Hop Frenzy and Hoppy Xmas.
All right, okay. Well, that's where caramel is going to go then.
So for the spreadsheet kid, caramel goes between Hop Frenzy and Hoppy Xmas.
And anytime about nowish, it will be appearing in the list with I'm thinking like a safe closing sound, like a locking it in.
Yeah, a safe or like the big piston things they always have in sci-fi movies when they're got to open or do a self-destruct or something.
Yeah.
That pull it out and then they twist it and then push it back in.
And that disables or enables the nuke generally.
Yeah, do the manual override. Like, what? How is this? Why?
Done. So caramel's
It's
good.
stuck because the system's under pressure. Okay. WD-40.
Which everyone should carry with them. WD-40, cable ties,
Duct tape.
duct tape.
Hammer.
You can't fix it with those. Can't fix it.
You're dead.
All right. Next up, Wales.
Wales. I want to know where you go. I'm going to chicken out. I want to know if you're going to break up the beer or you just can instantly put them above all beer.
No, I'm gonna break up the beer. I think I think Wales are better than Grind.
Yes.
I think they're better than Eld IPA as well. I like the Hazy Janes. Are they better than Jackhammer? They're probably better than Jackhammer. I think I would put Wales in between Silk Road and Neon Dream.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I put them just under Jackhammer.
Oh, really? You
Which
prefer
means-
Jackhammer to Wales?
Because it's fun and it's got a story. But it also means they're thinking in a very similar way.
Right? Yeah.
Because they're basically, that's not a lot of difference.
No. So you'd go just to the left of Jackhammer, and I'd
I'd
go.
go just under Jackhammer and you're just under Neon Dreams?
I am so in between Jackhammer and Silk Road then.
Wow, that was easy.
Sorted. Brilliant. All right. So Silk Road is marginally better than all Wales.
Yep.
All right. Fair enough. And finally, Gen X. What is probably
This whole thing has been so kind to Silk Road.
It really has. Yeah.
Gen X,
Gen X.
I really like, but I also really liked the Fort Lauderdale sour beer.
Oh, it was good. Well, let's draw a line. Let's say we're definitely not putting Gen X above Wingmen, right?
I'm not, and for me, would a life, now that I've had one, would a life be worth living if you never had Fort Lauderdale super sour beer?
That's true. And I'm on a promise for getting some of them.
Just as soon as I get around to doing my big to-do list.
And purely because of that, I think I'm gonna have to agree with you, and I'm gonna assume you're saying between Neon Dream and Merry Christmas and Fort Lauderdale for Gen X.
That is where I'm putting Generation X, a whole cohort of human people.
So Gen X.
Not that you can be human, not people.
No. Gen X between Neon Dream and Fort Lauderdale. Wales between Jackhammer and Silk Road. And Caramel between Hoppy Xmas and Hop Frenzy.
There's also a bit of modesty there. I don't feel modest enough. to put Gen X as the best thing, I think that would be immodest.
It would, and there's going to be things that come in later on above Gen X. You know, there's some absolute bangers on the list.
So I guess you'll tune in next week to find out.
Yeah, to find out what we spin and where those things go. But as it currently stands, worst thing in the world is still Lost Guava, and best thing in the world continues to be
Wingman.
Wingman. Yeah, Wingman is better than Wales Gen X, very much better than Caramel. That's a hell of a beer.
Let's be honest, it's a hell of a can.
It is a hell of a can. It's an okay beer.
Oh.
Yeah. All right.
Well, Wings, peace out.
Well, yeah, tune in next week, and we'll write some more things. Oh,
See, millennials don't know how to tune in.
that's true. That means nothing to them. Tune in.
No, it means something else.
That does. And on
What's that sad? Are they tuning themselves in because they're lonely?
mine are very sensitive. Anyway,
Goodbye.
bye.